Hey doll, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about signs that your friend is fake. I want to do this video for a while because, I mean, who hasn't dealt with a fake friend, right? So let's go ahead and dive in. These tips are just going to be from my own experience. They're not going to be catch-all or anything like that, but every one of these points is going to be something that I've dealt with or witnessed in my own life or people around me that I had a front row center seat to. So let's dive on in. So point number one is a fake friend will hesitate to celebrate you publicly. And we all know why, because they more than likely have badmouthed you privately. Now, this is something that some people are like, well, you just don't know because everybody's kind of different or whatever the case may be. But if you're a friend of mine and I, like, for instance, put something on my social media where it's like, oh my gosh, my YouTube is finally monetized, and I don't get a congrats from you, even in the slightest, like, even if you don't put it on the post, but you don't text me like, oh my gosh, congrats, or call or something, email, DM, something, like, to me, that's just iffy. It's like, why would you be a friend and not celebrate my wins with me? You know, and granted, for me, I take friendships very seriously. Like, I don't just call anytime Dick and Harry my friend. If I call you my friend, we have actually been through something, or we have some skin in the game, or you have proven that, like, you are somebody who is trustworthy, or whatever the case may be. And so I thought that you would be a good friend, and I took you in as a friend. Like, I treat my friends like family. So when I let someone in like that, I take it like a little bit more offensively than probably the next person would, because it's like, dang, like, I'm really treating you like a sister or like a brother, and you are, like, you know, completely just fake or stabbing me in the back. Ain't nobody got time for it. So if you notice that, like, you have a particular friend and they never celebrate you publicly, that's a problem to me, you know. And I'm not talking because, like, there's levels to this. So we all have different circles of friends. You know, I have my friends who are like my social media friends that I talk to, you know, just around Instagram or YouTube. They're also content creators or bloggers or whatever. And so some of them, they will celebrate other people and not me. I get that. You know, you have people that you are drawn more closely to, but I do have like a handful of them, like less than 10, that I'm really close with. And if I post something and I'm celebrating and, like, they don't ever celebrate with me, I'm gonna be kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like, that was just a little weird. It's one thing if you didn't see it at all, but 9 times out of 10, like I said, if we're friends, I'm probably telling you about my wins behind the scenes anyway. So if you don't ever seem to celebrate with me, then that's just kind of iffy. Like, you probably have badmouthed me. And so if you are not celebrating me, especially publicly, you're not doing it because now you look like a hypocrite. Because if you're talking about me behind my back and you're like, oh, she's this, she's that, she thinks she's all that, da 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 da, but then you go on my Instagram and you're like, oh my gosh, congrats, sis, so happy for you. The people that you badmouth me to or with are gonna be like, wasn't she just talking trash about her yesterday? Like, you know, so it makes you look like a hypocrite, or makes them look like a hypocrite. So that's why they don't celebrate you publicly. So just be aware of that. None of these exist in a vacuum. None of these points I say exist in a vacuum, and none of them are like, oh, once they do this, that's it. Like, if you see a couple of these things, you probably got a fake friend, or if you see all of them, you probably got a fake friend. But ultimately, you gotta, like, really figure that one out. So let's go to point number 2. Point number 2, signs that you can have a fake friend, is when you start to notice their energy towards you is shifting. So this actually happened to me last year out of nowhere. It just seemed like their energy just completely shifted. Like, I don't even know what caused it. Like, when I tell y'all, I literally feel like I woke up one morning and it was just like, I don't mess with her anymore. Like, them saying this about me, like, I don't mess with her anymore. That's exactly what it felt like, because all of a sudden, we went from like DMing each other, kikiing, you know, shooting the breeze, shouting each other out, whatever, to literally, like, I'm liking posts, I'm showing support, I'm liking videos and what have you, and they're not reciprocating. And so I'm just like, okay, like, again, the first few times you might be like, all right, you're like, maybe they're just busy, things happen. But if it's literally becoming a one-sided thing, that's a red flag to me. And so you need to trust your intuition, because the thing is, a lot of times we give people the benefit of the doubt way too much. We're like, well, maybe they're just busy, or maybe they saw it and they meant to like it but they didn't, and so you're overextending yourself being the good person that you are, and this person does not rock with you anymore. They don't like you. You know, you have to trust that gut instinct that you get. Don't ignore it, because that is your energy and your spirit picking up on stuff that you're not picking up on in and of yourself. You know, like, you really have to pay attention to that, because it will allow you to duck and dodge some later hurts down the road, you know. So when you start to notice that energy shift, maybe they used to call you all the time and check up on you, and now y'all don't call at all. Like, they don't call you at all. I'm not talking like y'all go through a season, because we're adults, you know. We go through things. One of my best friends, I talk to her like once every 6 months at this point. But it is what it is. Like, you know the nature of your friendships. Some friendships, that's just how it is. Other friendships, you can tell when that's a sign of something deeper. So ultimately, you have to be the judge of this. But if it is a situation where you're like, okay, maybe this is something deeper, and you're noticing maybe where they used to really show up for you and show out, they're not doing that anymore and they're pulling back, they probably are a fake friend, and they're just holding on to you for whatever reason, because there's probably some benefit attached to you that they're keeping you around for. Maybe you're the friend to give rides when they don't have a ride. Maybe you're the friend that always spends when you go out. Maybe you have a lot of knowledge on a particular subject, so they're keeping you around, but they really don't rock with you. But it's like, I'm going to take what I can get from you, and then I'm going to throw you to the side like yesterday's garbage. So go ahead, cut your ties while you can, and move on with your life. Let's go to point number 3. Point number 3 is that you find yourself giving more in the friendship than receiving. There needs to be some sort of balance when we're talking about friendship. Not to say that you want it to be tit for tat. It's not like, I pay for today's lunch, you pay for tomorrow's lunch, then you pay for tomorrow's dinner, and then I pay for the next day's dinner. Like, no one has time for that, but it should feel pretty balanced. If you feel like you're giving more time, energy, attention, resources, whatever the case may be, and you have little that you're getting in return, it might be time to reassess some things, because again, someone who is really a friend is not going to be comfortable with you just giving and always pouring yourself out, and they're just receiving. Like, out of the love that they have for you as a friend, they're gonna want to reciprocate something, and it doesn't necessarily have to always be the same thing. Maybe you're just a friend that has more money right now, but they reciprocate in other ways. Like, in the past, I was a friend out of my group of friends, like after we graduated college, who was making the most money, so I had the most disposable income, and so oftentimes I was a friend to spend a little bit more if we were like taking a trip or day trip or going out to the club or something like that. But my friends often would reciprocate in other ways. Maybe they couldn't afford to pay that day, but they might cover my lunch the next day, or they might give me gas money, or little things like that. But the people that really were not genuine friends, they were okay continuing to take from me, like endlessly, just taking, and I'm sitting here strung out, like giving my all, and they're just taking and not reciprocating. And then it's like, dang, like, and then that one time that you do call them when you need something, they're all of a sudden just like, I don't have it. Like, okay, 1 or 2 times you don't have it, that's one thing. But if every time I need help, you don't have it, it's just kind of like, okay, or you're not able to help. It's kind of like you just don't want to, but you're trying to pretend like you don't have it, or you're not able to, but you really just don't want to, because it's a one-sided friendship. So make sure that it's balanced in some way, shape, or form, so that way you're not giving out all of your stuff and you're not getting anything in return. Let's go to point number 4. So point number 4 is that this fake friend consistently makes disparaging comments or remarks about you, but they try to phrase it as a joke or like a passing, comment. And be careful with this, because like my parents always told me, a lot of truth comes out in jokes or when people are angry. And so if you find that your friend is always trying to like, roast you low key, or like I said, just make disparaging remarks about you, but they try to throw a LOL at the end of it, or a laughing emoji if it's in text, or they try to like say it kind of in a jovial mood, kind of laughing, and you're always the butt of the joke. That's not cute. Like, maybe some friends rock like that, but me and my friends, they already know, like, okay, if you're gonna make a little joke here or there once in a blue moon, that's one thing, but we just don't really do that, because why would I want to disparage my friend? Or if they're always trying trying to mask it as something that somebody else said. Because it's like, first of all, if you're always around other people that are talking bad about me, why do they feel so comfortable saying it to you? Like, that's the first question I have. Why do they feel so comfortable saying it to you? And why are you always the first one to come back and tell me the news? That's just not a good look to me at all. And be leery of people like that. Like I said, none of these exist in a vacuum. So I'm not going to say, like, if someone just, you know, brings you news and someone said that you have to be like, oh, you're a fake friend. But if this is always happening, like you always in the midst of the circle and they talk about me and then you always the first to bring it back, well, did you defend me? Like, tell me what you said to these people in my defense. You know, don't just tell me what they said. What did you say to them in my defense? That's what I need to know. And then again, a lot of truth comes out in jokes and when someone's angry. If someone said something in a joke, they meant that. They just made it light to see if you would get offensive or if they could kind of push the envelope with you. And if someone said that when they're angry, that's from the depths of their gut. Like, when someone's angry, everything comes out. So you can believe it. You can take it to the bank if they say it. They can apologize, but just move accordingly. And you have to decide if that's something that you want to keep on dealing with or not. But that's definitely a sign of a fake friend. You know, I've had friends in the past where friends, quote unquote, where they would do that a lot, especially the joking one. I didn't really have too many instances of someone like bringing news to me like, oh, so-and-so said this or so-and-so said that. But the jokes, oh yeah, I've had that before. I've definitely had that. And you know, when you're young, you try to brush it off and you're like, whatever, they're my friend. But nah, like, you crack in one too many jokes, okay? We ain't about to be laughing in a second. So just really determine if that's something that you can deal with. As for me and my friends, that's just not how we get down. So, you know, it's ultimately up to you, but that's definitely something to be aware of and just take note of it. Like, if it's happening over a period of time, it's definitely a sign of something else. And if it's happening often, like you notice it like almost every day or every week or whatever, yeah, definitely a red flag to say the least. Point number 5, before we get into how to deal with this fake friend, is that this fake friend makes you feel bad for your success. So let's say like you get a promotion on your job or something like that, and you go to this friend, and this is a great promotion, like this is a coveted position, this is something that's going to take your career to a whole new level or at least open up new opportunities. And so you go to this friend, you're like, I just got a promotion, I'm gonna be getting paid, you know, $15,000 more per year, I'm gonna get better benefits, this and the third. And they're just like, oh, you got a promotion, well, don't forget us little people when you make it to the top. And again, they might throw an LOL at the end, or if they're saying it, they'll be like, oh, well, don't forget me when you make it big, ha ha ha, you know. But you know they're really hating. It's like dry hating on you. So you have to mind people like that. Like, you gotta watch and see how often that happens. Or let's say you get into a relationship, and this actually happened to me when I was with my ex-fiance, and this was the point where our relationship was solid. Like, we were together almost a year, you know, we were living together at this point. People were like, wow, like things are really working out for them, she seems really happy, like they're gonna get married, it only makes sense. I mean, the rest of her life is squared away, right? And so I had people in my life, some of them that I considered to be like good friends that I had known for a while, that had just said some shady stuff behind the scenes, and other people in the circle will come and tell me and be like, yeah, like, you know, the other night I was driving home with this person and they were dropping me off, and then they came and said this, that, and the third about you and your relationship. And I'm like, wow, really? You know, stuff like, oh, she all happy now, you know, she gonna forget us when she gets married, or she ain't gonna be rocking with us when her and her man you know, buy a house, or just little stuff like that, where it was like it was masked as like self-pity, but it really was like hating, you know, dry hating. So that's what I'm saying, like, you gotta mind things like that. And again, if several of these points you start to see them in a friend, you might just have a fake friend on your hands, and you definitely want to evaluate that. So here are some tips as to how you can deal with a fake friend and kind of like figure this out and work through it. First things first, you want to ensure that the signs are there. Like I said, these 5 signs and points that I made are not exhaustive. So definitely, like, you know, you have common sense, you have discernment. Definitely observe this person over a period of time. Pray and ask God to reveal things to you. And I'm telling you right now, every time I pray and ask God to reveal someone to me, I low-key hate praying those prayers, because I swear within like a week or two, they start showing me their rear end. And I'm like, dang, God, that was quick. You know, I'm grateful because he moves quick, but I'm like, dang, like, you wasted no time, okay? So just be prepared. When you pray that prayer, be prepared to see the answer, because trust and believe. it will be revealed to you. So just have your eyes peeled and make sure that you're paying attention, but pray and ask God to reveal things to you, and then observe this person over a period of time if you haven't been already, to make sure that there are some signs, because not everything exists in a vacuum, and there are different things that lead people to make certain decisions and to act out certain things. So just make sure, based on your situation, that this person basically has concluded to be a fake friend. Next thing you want to do is you want to bring up your concerns to this person. So once you pray about it, you ask God to reveal things to you, and you basically observe them and conclude, okay, yeah, like they're acting a little fake. Bring up your concerns to them. And I know a lot of people will just cut someone off, but we want to strive to be better than that, especially as believers. We don't want to just like, boom, cut someone off. Like, bring it up. Let's do better with actually confronting an issue and not just always running, because people get real scary in these streets, okay? I'm the type of person that's gonna pull up. If I notice something, I will send a DM. I will text, be like, hey, I've been noticing this kind of behavior. Like, what's good? Is something wrong? And let me tell you right now, even though you pull up and you ask and you bring up your concerns, be ready for them to deflect, be ready for them to deny, or be ready for them to just completely ignore you if it's not in person, like if it's in a text or email or something like that. Because a lot of people do not do good with conflict resolution. A lot of people do not do good with the direct conversation. And to be able to say, like, yeah, like I am, feeling a type of way. Me and my best friends, we have that kind of relationship. And that's how we've been able to maintain relationships with each other for almost 20 years. Because if we're feeling some type of way, we will approach each other on that. Like, I remember when I was jealous of my best friend in her marriage, and I was like, I'm jealous of y'all. Like, because we really had to talk about this. One day we were coming home from like a business meeting. We were both doing business together. And I don't know how we got on the topic, but we brought it up. And I was like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm definitely a little jealous. Like, I have my moments. It's not the fact that I'm jealous of your relationship in particular. I'm just jealous that you're married and I'm not, and I feel like I should be married by now. And she was like, wow, I didn't know this. And we had a real candid conversation in the car. Like, we pull up on each other. We'll be like, look, I'm feeling some type of way right now. Like, I wish I was in your shoes. And then the other person will be like, no, like I be looking at you and I'll be feeling this kind of way. And we have real heart to hearts. But that is not often. That is the exception and not the rule. So just be prepared that when you bring up your concerns, that person might get scary, and they might just completely ignore you or deny. But if they go to that point and you are pretty much convinced and you've done the research and the observing and the praying and the kind of weighing your options and you're sure, then that brings me to the third thing that you could do, and that's you have to decide whether you are going to create distance with this person, whether you are going to cut them off altogether, or whether you're going to stay in the friendship like how it was. Because here's the thing, not every fake friend needs to be cut off altogether, because sometimes that person is in your life for a reason, and sometimes you're in their life for a reason. But what can be created is some distance. Maybe it's not I'm never going to talk to you ever again. Some people, yeah, more often than not, yeah, I would say it is a cutoff. Just cut them off once you've done your due diligence. But there are a few that maybe you just need to create some distance, because people can start to act fake and phony when they have their own issues going on in their life, and they don't know how to express that. And this usually happens again, usually, not all the time, with people that maybe you're not best friends with, that you don't know like that, like people that you got real skin in the game with, in real life, you got real history. 9 times out of 10 they'll be able to tell you when they're going through something. But someone like I said, I have a lot of connections through Instagram and YouTube because of content creation and business. People that I'm closest with in those realms, they're not just gonna come out and be like, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. Not just like that. So they might start to look fake and phony, but in reality they're honestly just dealing with stuff. But you have to decide whether you want to cut it off, and for many I have, because I'm like, look, it ain't worth it, okay? Or whether you just need to create some distance, or for others I have created distance, or whether you want to keep the friendship how it is. If you want to keep the friendship how it is, that's up to you too. But the decision is yours to make, and you have the power to make any decision that works best for you and that particular friendship. So that pretty much wraps up the video about how you can spot a fake friend and signs that your friend is fake. So I hope that these points and these tips and these observations help you. Again, none of these exist by themselves, so make sure that you are like really just honing in on this, and it's a case by case, person by person type of thing. But if you feel like, okay, after listening to this video, I might have some fake friends in my life, you have the power to cut them off, sis. You determine what is best for you in that friendship. You're either going to cut them off, you're going to create distance, or you're just going to stay right where you are. Whatever decision you make, it's your prerogative, but just be ready for the consequences that come with that decision. So that's all I have for you in this video. I hope it encouraged you. I hope it gave you insight. And remember that you have the power. It's all up to you, and God will lead you in the direction you need to go in. I will see y'all tomorrow for the live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern, or unless it's an otherwise stated time. And I will catch y'all later. Bye. Love you.